Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Makerspace Assemble here at Plymouth Public Library. And today we are going to be doing ancient Greek faux stained glass pictures like this one right here. And I'm super excited to do that with you guys. And right now I'm going to turn the camera around and let you see what we're going to be working with. Here are some of the supplies that you guys are going to need. Some Elmer's glue and some black paint. This is what we're going to be making our stained glass, or the images. That's what we're going to start with, and it's going to actually give our picture more of a stained glass look. And I'm going to show you guys how to make that. We're going to be using these little bottles, and they've got a really small tip on them so that we can get the kind of look that we need. I'm going to be using a pipette to get some of this paint out and to get into these. If you have smaller paint bottles and want to just mix some of the black into the glue to get the color that we need, that you can do too. I have, instead of my ice tray, because I'm down in the PPL studios, I have my own little palette here, all the colors that I need. I have some tape. I have a picture frame that you can get anywhere for about $1 at a dollar store. I have some paper towels, paintbrushes I'm gonna use, a cup of water that I'm gonna use to rinse out things, and then I also have a picture image that I'm actually going to try and transfer onto my painting today. Let's start with making the lead or faux part of the stained glass window. Now, in normal stained glass windows, you might see all the lead that is around it that gives it its kind of shape, its form, separates the colors for the glass. This is how we're going to make that kind of look. We're going to use some black acrylic paint, and we're going to use some Elmer's glue. And what I have here is just kind of a little bottle. It's got a really small kind of pointy spout at the end of it that you can use. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to go ahead and just put some into the bottle. So like this. And the bigger the stained glass picture that you make, the more of this glue you might need, the more color of it you might need. So it really depends on what kind of image that you pick. Now what I did for this one, for this project, was to Google coloring pages, because when you get coloring pages, they just end up black and white, and they're really easy to trace, which is basically what we're going to be doing here after we get our paint ready, our glue paint ready. And I'll show you guys what all that's going to look like. So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of filling it in, and I want for this a little over half filled. And it's getting there, slowly but surely. And so, and if you need more, you can always make more. Okay, so now that I got it a little bit over halfway full, I'm gonna take my black paint. And what I use is a pipette. Now, like I said before, if you have a smaller bottle of black paint that you want to use and it's easier to pour into there, into a glue bottle, if you want to just open it up and pour the glue in and then kind of shake it up to get the color that you want, the kind of black color that we need, you can do that. I happen to not have a small bottle of black paint because we use a lot of it. So I found a pipette that actually helped me kind of suck up some of that paint, and then I'm just going to take it and put it right inside there. And I might give you just a little bit more. If you want it to have, if you want your faux lead look to have more of a gray color, you're going to use less black. If you want it to be darker, you're going to use more black. That's just the way it kind of goes. So what I'm doing right now is I put in probably about 2 full kind of spouts of this. take it, put the lid back on it, and you're gonna do the same thing you would do with your regular glue. If you had it in the glue bottle, you're gonna shake it. So I'm gonna shake it up and I'm gonna swirl it around and I'm gonna squeeze it around to try and get it to take on a color. And once you get it to the color that you want, then you can move on to the next part. And I'm gonna show you that in just a second. And here's what you're gonna need for your next part. You're gonna need your picture frame, you're gonna need some tape, and you're also gonna need your picture. And what you're gonna do is you are going to go ahead and undo the back, pull the frame apart, take the picture out, and you're going to just take the piece of glass, because that's the part that we want. We're going to put the whole picture frame out of the way. And so what you have now is just your piece of glass. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our picture, we're gonna flip it upside down, and what I'm going to do so that it's easier to paint on the other side or to start, I'm actually gonna tape it down. So I'm gonna tape down this side so it doesn't move, because there's nothing worse than working on something and then having it move and then having to start all over again. So you wanna do this part right here to help it stay in place. And then when you flip it over, da-da-da, we're ready to go. And then here's where this part comes in. Now you want to test it a little bit to make sure that it works, which is why we have our handy dandy napkins over here. Now if you don't have a steady hand, that's okay. I have a steady hand sometimes, not all the time. But what you're gonna do with this is you're going to outline the whole entire thing, or the parts that you want. If your nozzle is too big and you can't do the small parts, then that's where you can be creative and you can draw your own little designs. So I'm gonna show you guys how to get started. And you're basically just tracing, guys. It's that simple. It's that simple. And then after you do all of it, you're going to fill it in with color. But you're gonna let it dry for a little bit first. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you guys some time to go ahead and outline yours. I'm gonna finish outlining mine and let it sit to dry. You have to let it sit to dry before you can actually start putting more paint on it. So once you get the black all completely outlined, then we'll start putting the color in once it's dried. So when we come back, I'll show you what it looks like when all the black is done and it's dry, ready to go for paint. So this is what it'll look like after you've went ahead and you've outlined your whole entire picture and you've let it sit and dry. Now they're a little bit wet in some spots, but it'll be okay to go ahead and paint on some of this. I've already gotten some of the paints that I want to use ready, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start in just 1 second. I think I wanna go with just a little bit lighter or purple. Let's see if this one was giving me some issues. Let's see about this. Okay, whoop. Got enough there. And it looks like I'm gonna actually go in and start working on some of these grapes first. So, and what I've found out is that it's better to just kind of like dab it on there. Now here's the deal. If you get on the black, it's okay, because once you take off the paper from behind this, you won't be able to see a lot of your boo-boos. So it's kind of nice that you can just do that. And what I'm doing is I'm just dabbing. And you'll see it when you start working on it, when you do bigger spaces and you start spreading your paint out a little bit more, it's gonna give it a little bit of a streaky kind of look, and that's okay. that's going to happen, because what we didn't do is we didn't scratch the glass to make the paint like stay really good. This is just an easier way to kind of to do it. Mix this up a little bit. Get a different color here. And there's really no rhyme or reason. You can pick whatever colors you want for your picture, depending on what it is. This is the part where you guys can get really creative with it and kind of go with the flow. Go where it kind of takes you. Now remember, some grapes aren't red and purple all the time. And I am going to finish up these grapes, and then I'm going to give you guys some time to work on your own. And when we come back, I'll show you what it all looks like after it's sat and dried. You want to let it dry at least until the paint dries. If you want to spray it with some, clear, clear spray or clear paint, you want to paint over it with clear paint, just make sure that you do it very lightly because it will scratch if you don't. So make sure that you do that. But when we come back, I will show you what it looks like when it's completely finished. And here's what it looks like when I've went ahead and painted it all. I've let it dry for a little bit, and you may be thinking, oh man, that doesn't look that great. Well, this side is the painted side. I went ahead and I took the paper off that I used to help me trace this image, and then this is actually what it looks like on the other side, which is pretty cool. And I'm gonna get it in its frame, and then you guys can see it for real, for real. Are you guys ready for the final reveal? Here you go, da-da-da. This is an ancient Greek faux stained glass picture. And now I have 2 of them, and you can make these at home too. And if you did follow along and make this with me, go ahead and tag us in a picture and send it to us at PPL Media. You can do that on Instagram or PPL Media on Twitter or the Plymouth Public Library's Facebook page. We would love to see pictures of what you guys have created. And until the next time, you guys stay safe, and we'll see you again on Makerspace Assemble.